Ma'am, you called 911 over a fishing shed. That's what the cop asked our HOA president, Linda Walsh, after she rang in a life-or-death emergency about my little 8x10 shack by the water. And I'll admit at first I thought Linda had finally gone full-blown bonkers out here losing sleep over garden tools and a pile of rods. But then my dog Ranger, my old military partner with a nose for trouble, started acting up, and let me tell you, I should have listened to him from the jump. Because what he found under that shed, it blew my mind. And it sure as hell explained why Linda was so desperate to see it gone before anybody poked around and found out what she'd buried literally. 6 months ago, I thought I'd found my slice of heaven. Mirror Lake, glassy as a countertop wrapped around my weathered cabin. Every sunrise was golden and pink, the kind of color you just can't buy no matter how many filters you throw on a photo. Ranger and I would hit the dock with our coffee and biscuits. Well, he just wanted my bacon most days and let our bones soak up the peace. He was a lifesaver in Iraq more than once, and after what we saw out there, silence wasn't scary anymore. It was a gift. I swear that dog knew it too. Rarely barked, just loafed around, finally getting to be a dog instead of a soldier. That shed was born from necessity. My gear was taking over the house, and the HOA had never once fussed at my canoe or the bright blue kayak parked out back. I did it by the book-researched county codes, combed through HOA guidelines, filed the permits, crossed every T. The shed went up in a weekend square, and neat Ranger snoozing in the shade. Lasted all of 3 days before Linda showed up. She came stomping across my yard heels, snapping clipboard, swinging hair not even frizzed in the wind. "This is unacceptable," she spat. "Not even a good morning." I stepped out. "Calm as you please, ma'am." I followed every rule permit and all you can check. She waved that off like she was batting at a fly. "It ruins the lakeside aesthetic. It needs to go." That's when Ranger stood and barked loud, sharp, the kind of sound that says danger. He hadn't barked in months. Linda froze her hand, trembling just enough to notice, and she backed off fast, practically sprinting to her car. "Keep that dog away from me," she hollered, voice shaky. "Now I know Ranger. He doesn't bark at nothing. That wasn't just fear of dogs." Linda looked like she'd been recognized by an old enemy. After she left, I tried to focus on sorting my tackle, but I couldn't shake the feeling in my gut. Ranger stayed tense for ages, eyes locked on the path Linda took. When you've spent time in combat, you learn to trust your gut and your dog. And mine was screaming. 2 hours later, sirens wailed down the road and my pulse spiked. Suddenly, I was back in Baghdad, heart hammering, until Officer Tim Rodriguez knocked on the door. He looked young, polite, probably used to Linda's calls. "Suspicious construction," he said, barely hiding his eye roll. I let him out back, showed every permit, every receipt, the whole 9 yards. He shook his head, almost grinning. "Everything's legal, Mr. Miller. Sorry to bother you." But in his eyes, I saw a hint of sympathy. Maybe he'd been through Linda's ringer before. That night, restless, I pulled up my security camera footage. And sure enough, there she was, Linda, 20 minutes standing exactly where my shed sat, phone out, glancing over her shoulder like a cat at a dog show. This wasn't about HOA codes. She wanted that exact spot cleared. 3 days later, certified mail came official, looking the kind that ruins your coffee before you open it. Unauthorized structure, aesthetic violation, failure to obtain pre-approval, $500 fine, $50 a day until the shed's gone. I checked my paperwork for the 100th time. Everything was legal. This wasn't regulation. It was personal. So I clipped Ranger's leash and said, "Patrol time, buddy." Instantly, he was on duty, nose twitching, scanning the yard with the kind of focus he used to have clearing bomb sites. He stopped at 3 patches near the shed, brown dead grass, just weird enough to notice. And the smell, chemical, artificial, sharp in the breeze. Not rot, not septic, just wrong. That night, I watched more footage. Every night, like clockwork, Linda slipped through the dark, flashlight in hand, checking those spots. She was terrified not of what was on top of the ground, but what was buried beneath. My illegal shed just happened to sit right on top of her dirty secret. 4 days later, more sirens. Officer Rodriguez, again, looking less patient, more tired. Linda claims you're hiding illegal chemicals used in the shed to cover dumping, he said, like even he didn't buy it. I let him search every inch, rods, reels, old boots, nothing but fishing gear. Ranger sat calm, letting Tim scratch his ears, but I could tell he was watching Linda the whole time, hackles up. Word spread fast. Neighbors started avoiding me and Ranger too. At first, we were the cool vet and his hero dog, but overnight, I became the problem. I'd hear whispers, brings down property values, military types and their drama. I'd see them in the Facebook group talking community standards and disruptive new residents. It stung, not gonna lie. Sleep got thin, coffee ran cold, and I caught myself jumping at shadows like I was back on patrol. Ranger slept at my feet, always alert, like he knew things weren't right. By Thursday, I'd had enough. Thought about tearing down the shed just to get my peace back. Maybe it wasn't worth the fight. But as I grabbed my tools, Ranger blocked the shed door, stubborn as a mule. He wouldn't move. Not growling, just staring at me, the same look he'd given when he saved my skin on a roadside in Fallujah, refusing to move when he sensed danger ahead. That day he saved 12 lives, and here he was, dead set on protecting this little shack. I gave in. Okay, boy, show me. He led me to that first patch. Chemical smell was stronger than ever. I dug expecting rocks or roots. 6 inches down, crunch, not dirt. Heavy-duty trash bag, torn open, leaking paint cans and industrial containers. Not household junk, serious stuff, the kind that can poison a lake. I photographed everything, documenting the scene like it was evidence because it was. With a drone, I checked Linda's backyard. That's when things got wild. 15, maybe 20 burial sites lined up neat as headstones, camouflaged with fake grass and landscaping. Fresh tire tracks, disturbed earth tarps covered with forest debris. It wasn't an accident. It was a business. I did my research, found Walsh Landscaping Services. Unlicensed, cash only, no questions asked, waste removal. Contractors loved her. Cheap, fast, no paperwork. She'd been making tens of thousands a year, turning her property into a toxic landfill and hiding behind the HOA. Her position as president let her crush complaints, keep outsiders like me in the dark. The final straw was an official email: remove the shed in 48 hours, unanimous board vote, or face legal action and a lien. But Linda's big mistake was giving me the names of every board member and the date of the vote. I put together a file: photos, drone maps, video evidence, even a threatening text from Linda herself. I mapped out every dump site, every detail. That shed of mine, it blocked the only road her trucks could use without being seen. The next day, Linda showed up with 2 big guys and a fake demolition order, county seal, emergency removal for safety. I asked to verify with the county. Suddenly they backed off, mumbling about tonight's meeting. Her bluff finally called. That night at the community center, the place was packed. Linda gave her speech: community standards, property values, aesthetic harmony. She tried to bulldoze the vote. But when I asked, why is this spot so important, she got rattled. Anger cracked through her mask. Then Ranger made his entrance door, nudged open, sniffing his way through the crowd straight to Linda. He started his alert routine, same as he used to do for bombs. Linda panicked, shrieked, "Get that dog away from me!" Suddenly the crowd saw her for what she was afraid, desperate, not in control. The board postponed the vote, and Linda, trembling, hissed, "You have no idea what you're messing with." That night, no sleep. At 2 a.m., Ranger started pacing. I looked out the window, floodlights on Linda's property, heavy machinery roaring. Excavator, dump trucks, a whole crew working fast. She was trying to erase everything before the authorities could arrive. When I stepped out, Linda yelled, "Emergency septic work," but the scene told the real story. Ranger broke free, chased a worker lugging a big bag. He dropped it and it burst open, stinking of paint thinner and solvents. The worker caved. "She pays us to bury this stuff." Told us it was legal. Linda lost it screaming, "You don't get it. I've run this for years," that she had ruined everything. Her confession clear as day in front of everyone. I called the city. Officer Tim showed up with the environmental inspector, and Linda was arrested on the spot, wrists clicking in handcuffs while neighbors filmed. The cleanup cost the community a fortune, but for once, justice was loud and clear. Afterward, the neighbors warmed up. People apologized, thanked me, offered cookies for Ranger. He became a hero, the dog who saved Mirror Lake. I carved a sign for the Shed Ranger's nose-protected area. Every sunrise, since the water's cleaner, the air sweeter, and the silence feels like peace again. Funny thing, one little shed, one stubborn dog, and the truth brought a whole crooked empire down. Makes you wonder what's really buried in your own backyard, huh? Would you have fought or just let them win? Let me know. Share your story. Sound off in the comments. And hey, maybe every neighborhood needs a ranger.